If we could just start with the news that's broken in the last hour or so regarding Pep signing on till 2023 with Manchester City. Good news for the Premier League and fans. Probably another headache for rival managers, I guess. Your thoughts?
Well, certainly a top manager, deserving of a contract. I'm pretty sure of that. I think it's the old favourite, isn't it? You know, with them kind of type of managers, you know, for someone like myself, you wish you were a trophy behind him, and you wish you were about 10 million quid behind him. You're probably doing all right. But he's no, I'm sure he deserves his contract. That's for sure.
Obviously, there's been a lot of talk given the last international break and different bubbles, different testing protocols from the Premier League to international setups. Your players will be coming back today. What's been the procedure for them coming in, and how much of a concern is it for you?
Well, it's really for our club doctor who oversees all of that. But from what I'm aware of, they test on the way back, and usually, hopefully, by the time they're back, they've got a result, and we take it from there. So I'm certainly not in a position to start demanding any other. The medical side of the game will take care of the whys and wherefores of the protocols. So I just work with them.
Is it a concern, though? Is there a degree of frustration? Because there seems to be different benchmarks depending on where you are. And obviously we've heard of players going away on international breaks and coming back testing positive.
Well, I think there's a lot more frustrating things about COVID out there than just football. So let's put it into context. It is important, don't get me wrong. You want your players back and you want them tested and they're clear so that we can, get on with things. But how else can you do it? They're travelling with mixed groups from, often in the international scene, players from all over different countries who, go back to play for their national side. I don't think there's an easy way through it. We don't want it to stop. I don't think anyone wants international football to stop or anything like that. I think we just work the best we can through the medical side of the game. I think the protocols that are put in place, which I think have been very, very good and very stringent at times and still are from the Premier League guidelines. And I think that's all we can do is work appropriately. But certainly not judge ourselves above the rest of the world. There's plenty of people out there having all kinds of challenges of what they're doing. We're just making the best of it as what we can.
Let's look ahead to this weekend then. On Monday night, you get a few extra days. To what extent does that help you? How are you shaping up in terms of team use?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of nearly get in there, and then we've got a couple of niggles which we've got to keep an eye on. Eric Peters is coming back through an injury, so he's training with us this week, which has been good. Bardo's fit and well again now. Johan's got a minor calf. We're just keeping an eye on that, though. We're hopefully he'll be okay. Robbie Brady got a bit of a hamstring last night, so we're waiting on news on that. And had to come off the field of play. Dale Stevens has got a hamstring, but don't think he'll be right for the weekend. Charlie Taylor's had a niggle on his Achilles, but should be okay, we think. And Cork is ongoing. I'm just looking at my list there, I've run out. But yeah, Cork is ongoing, but making good progress. So, yes, frustrating. We keep getting nearly back to full fitness, but hopeful that a lot of these are just small injuries now that are more like, days and possibly a week or so, not the longer stuff which was impeding us at the beginning of the season.
What are your thoughts on Crystal Palace then? Because certainly going into the international break, they seem to be picking up some form, have some good results, and seems to be clicking at the moment.
Well, they're a good side. I mean, they're an experienced side. They've got quality as well. Obviously, an incredibly experienced manager and obviously assistant Ray Lewington, who I played under at Watford. Got a lot of respect for them. I've always made that clear. All managers, but certainly people have done what they've done in the game. And having worked under Ray personally as well. But they're a good outfit. They've got experience. They've got a bit of pace on turnover. They've got some quality players. So I don't think it's a major surprise they've had a decent start. They sometimes have odd periods in the Premier League, but mostly we have had that, and we started like that. A few challenges to our sort of situation as well. But no, I think, I speak about it every week. Every game is a big game in the Premier League. Every game means something, and you just, no matter who you're playing, you can't take it for granted. We never do. We're going to have to work as hard as we can. I think we're showing some form of back to what we should be. We're not. We've got to create better quality of chances. I believe that. But I think the shape of the team, the energy in the side has been very good. And we're just beginning to form back to what we think we can be. Some key players are still missing and we'll get back to true fitness, if you like. But I think we're beginning to show signs again. So it's important that, I've spoken to the players clearly before the international break and then during it with the players that were left here. it's about going and making things happen. You know, you can't wait in the Premier League. You can't wait in football in general, but you definitely can't wait in the Premier League for things to come your way. You've got to make it. So we've got to go and make it come our way and make results come our way. And I think that's a clear focus from me going into the players and going into the next game.
Is it an opportunity as well now for everyone at Burnley to have a proper run at the schedule, because you've got the final international break of the year out of the way and it is purely all Premier League now?
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I mean, I've never questioned players on the international duty. I think it's a great honour. So I've never got involved with that one. It does give us a focus on what we need to clear our minds to, really, and the task in front of us. But I don't think it's been really, that hasn't been lacking. I think there's other things that have got in the way of our form, but we do have to take responsibility for what comes next, including myself, of course. So I think it does give us the clear view to get on with our workload and then take it into the games and supply the performances that can get us results.
And once again, you might have noticed this week the whole discussion around concussion and head trauma and how you deal with it has come back into the forefront. As a defender yourself, formerly, I know you've spoken about heading the ball and what's right and wrong before, but one of the things I heard suggested was that perhaps players, coaches, parents, if you like, all need to educate themselves about how you handle post-concussion as well. Have we moved on with this at all? Have you changed things at the training ground with how players address this? Because if you're a defender, one of the arts of defending obviously is to head the ball clear, isn't it?
Well, we haven't addressed it with the first team players. The medical side will always be open for any first team players who need any questions answered or any doubts. My view has always been, from working in the youth system at Watford, was at a young age they should be learning with sponge balls anyway, because it's about technique. And when you head the ball properly and appropriately, you don't get the same knock-on effect as when it hits you at a strange angle, or you don't head it cleanly. So I think a technical side of the game could help. I'm not on about solving it, by the way. I'm just on about still allowing the game to progress, but doing it in a very safe manner. And the medical side will know what age is appropriate to start using a real football, if you like. So that would be for them to decide. But I think that's a start or a common sense view of it. A lot's made of the game being played in a different manner now, but if you look at the stats, you've still got to head the ball at some point. You've still got to head it from goalkeepers' kicks. You've still got it from free kicks, from corners. So unless they're going to take that away, then I don't think that would be a good spectacle, looking back at the game. And I think it seems to me, just on a logical point of view, and like I say, it's not a medical view, just on my time in football, that when you look back at some of the age groups that are involved in some of the problems now, they were heading balls that are just, you look back now and so I'm told by my grandparents when they were alive, and even my dad, the balls then were a whole different ball game, literally the weight of it, the feel of heading a ball then. The balls obviously now have got a light kind of, it's hard to explain, but I know you've seen them, but they've got like a sheen on them that stops the water going into them. They're a lot lighter. I don't know the medical view of that. I must be clear on that. That's just my logical view. So therefore, if you project into the future, is that going to have less of an effect on head injuries and the knock-on effect of it? I don't know. That's for the medical professions to decide what kind of impact does harm you against what kind of impact doesn't. So like I said, that's more of just an honest view of it. I don't know the medicine behind that. I must make that clear. And of course, no one wants anyone having future problems. And certainly not with the brain. Lots of players, including myself, have got many other injuries, around my body that are sort of causing me trouble now. I'm 49, but they're beginning to cause trouble. But of course, the brain's a whole different ball game. So, yet again, just to be clear, it's just an outside view. It's not a medical view. I don't understand the depth of the medical view. That would be for someone else.
Does it ever concern you? I know I was speaking to Tony Mowbray earlier this morning, and he was saying, look, sat down with Gary Pallister, who used to play with, and we did chat about it.
Well, there's certainly two top players, in my opinion, who could head it, that's for sure. It is an art, it is a skill, it is a valuable part of the game, and I don't think that will change. I don't know, I mean, like I say, I was an ex-centre-half and, played a lot of lower league football, and you certainly had to use your head then and in aerial challenges. I don't think we can project yet what this level of football, this era of football, if we started today, that is, with the new, the science behind the footballs being used and the weight of them and all things like that. like I say, I think the scientists have recreate that, I think, from impact and what it does. I can only imagine that with the hopefully the funds that go into it, to try and foresee the next 25, 35 years. It's not something that I overthink, and I had plenty of footballs in my time, but I'm 49, maybe later in life, I don't know. But I can't look into the future.
Just finally from me, Sean, you'll have seen an article in one of the papers this morning regarding what you are or not entitled to in contractual situation at Burnley, regarding the sale of academy players or players you've coached. Do you have any response to that at all? Is it accurate?
Well, it's factually incorrect, which is but never let the truth get in the way of a good story. We all know that. So it's factually incorrect. I think behind that, look, I've tried to be private with my own situation and my players' situation. Any players that we attempt to sign that we've been linked with, I think that's another thing. I've spoke about the length of contract for players and myself, but never about the details. And equally behind that, if truth be known, I don't know whether you know our stats, but even if it was true, I don't think I'll have earned a fortune so far out of it. I think they were linking it to one player, which was Dwight McNeil, and having been a large part of having him sign a long-term contract here, it would suggest that I must be going mad of sorts. Certainly my wife will be saying, why didn't you sell him as quick as you could, if that was factually true. That's for sure, because she is partial to a handbag now and again. That's just her muse there, but I'm sure some of her friends will get her involved with this message.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for your time today. First question for you. When you look at all the factors that Premier League managers are having to deal with at the moment, you've got the interruption to last season, the short pre-season to this one, the congested schedule that you're now facing, players still travelling internationally with the virus still very much a threat. Do you think there's ever been a tougher time to be a Premier League manager?
Well, there's a lot going on, but I think there's a lot going on in the world. So I just look at it and go, well, we're trying to make the best of it. We're working within guidelines, quite obviously. No one wants, I don't think many people anyway, certainly not sports-minded people, want football to stop. Every competition will have their view on their own competition, how important that is. I just think we're working as hard as we can. It kind of becomes irrelevant whether it's hard or not. It's a fact. These are the facts. These are what's put out in front of us. These are the challenges. We've got our own at the moment, quite obviously, not just with injuries and all that, but the physical side of the league table, which suggests where we are. But we keep working diligently. We keep working hard. We keep making the best of what we can do to achieve what our end sort of goal is. And like I say, there's plenty of people having different challenges throughout this last coming up 9 months or so. So I'm not going to start worrying too much about it. It's just what it is.
On this subject, Frank Lampard was speaking to a podcast and described management this week as all-consuming, dealing with 50 problems every day. Is that how you see it? Can you relate to what he's saying there?
Yeah, I think years in service makes you slightly more adjusted to it. I think over time, I'm sure he already does this, but you do delegate more and learn to use the people around you and trust in them. It's standard stuff, really. For management, very rarely is there a quiet period. There are some. I've got more and more used to it. So it's like any job, though. You normalise, and once it becomes normal, then it's just what you do. In any job, people in way more stressful life and death situations, top surgeons will tell you it's just what they do. They've been doing it for many, many years, and they just get on, and they're dealing with life and death situations. We're dealing with a game of football. So I think, I don't know, you just get used to it. Every manager will have different parts of their job they enjoy. Every manager will have different parts that are tough and demanding. And I don't think that's just about football. It's just that football's out in the public eye, so it gets talked about a lot more.
And just finally, I'm sure you've seen, if you're not watching, I'm a celebrity yourself, that Burnley has been a hot topic on British TV this week. Are you watching the show, firstly?
No, I don't watch it. I have watched it in my time with my kids, but I don't watch it so much now. Great show, though. Ant and Dec legends.
I'm sure you would have seen Jordan North reminding everyone of his happy place, that being Turf Moor. I suppose for you, the timing of this is a reminder to your players, to your staff, to the fans, that Turf Moor is a happy place. Couldn't be better.
Well, the bit where I said I didn't watch it means I haven't seen it. But
Right.
if you send me the clip, I'll definitely watch it. I think the point is, I was actually interviewed by him just before he went in. So I must say, fair play to him for his secrecy, because he didn't, say anything to me, which obviously that means he'll never get back in the stadium, because he should tell me first of all. No, look, I mean, people have sent me messages on the night, said it was good fun. He seems like a really top lad to me. I've interviewed him or been around him a couple of times, and he's interviewed me a couple of times. Wish him well in there. But no, it sounds like he's having a fun of sorts, and if that's his special place, fair play to him. I have others of my own, which are not Turf Moor.
And just finally, another word on Crystal Palace. You might argue that Turf Moor is their happy place as well. They've won more than they've lost there in the Premier League. Just a bit more on what you're expecting of them this weekend and the way they play and how that might be impacted with no fans inside Turf Moor.
Well, it's a great link. Thanks for reminding me that they've got a good record here. No, at the end of the day, we take it on. The last one doesn't owe you the next one. So, we know what we're about. We've never worked on the last performance guarantees the next one, or stats and facts. I always dispel them with the players. We'll go into the game having to be ready to go, and certainly good performance to get anything, because they're a decent outfit, but then everyone is in the Premier League.